Now, President Trump appears to be sending mixed signals on potentially firing Fed Chair Jerome Powell. CBS News was first to report the president spoke to House Republicans about an ouster, but now he says he's not so sure. Look.
I don't rule out anything, but I think it's highly unlikely unless he has to leave for fraud. I talked about the concept of fire him. I said, what do you think? Almost every one of them said I should. But I'm more conservative than they are.
Senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe joins us from the White House with more on this. Ed, it appears the president's building a case to fire Powell. Now he's saying, well, other people are telling me to do it, but I don't know if I want to. There's also this investigation into the Fed's renovation of its headquarters. What does this look like from your point of view?
Well, let's walk through a few things. The president's not happy with Powell because he hasn't cut interest rates, which the president believes would juice the economy and justify all the work he's been doing on economic policy. So that's at the crux of the anger here. This is somebody that the president appointed to the job during his first term, was renominated by President Biden, and is set to serve through next spring. He's talked about firing Powell, but if you read sort of what federal case law or Supreme Court precedent is right now, he really can't get rid of him without cause. And so the cause that they're trying, or the case they're trying to build for cause, now seems to center around the ongoing renovations at the Federal Reserve a few blocks from here that have run on for years and have now cost more than $2 billion. In response to the president's criticisms, Powell is now asking an independent watchdog that oversees the Federal Reserve to do an investigation and an audit of the ongoing project to explain it. But otherwise, the president seems to be trying to use that as the crux or the basis for potentially removing him. He says, and he conceded in an interview yesterday, removing Powell would have an adverse effect on stock markets. And if there's something the president doesn't like to have, it's, him doing something that adversely affects the stock market. That's why we've seen the tariff deadlines kicked several times this year. But at this point, it's not entirely clear the president could do this at all. If you look at what the Supreme Court ruled in April, when they were asked about whether he could fire people at other independent agencies like the National Labor Relations Board, they said it's probably not likely he could do it with the Federal Reserve because it is a, quote, uniquely structured quasi-private entity. In other words, leave him alone. And so while he's going to continue criticizing him, it's certainly now, obviously something he considered actively and was encouraged to do by lawmakers when they met with him Tuesday night here at the White House, but something he conceded yesterday could have some really big economic effects if he were to do it.
Yeah, and we're just about out of time, but politically, does the president think he will gain anything from this fight, at least?
Sounds like Republicans in Congress, at least, would back him up on it. But if you're going to cause disruption to the markets and to the broader economy, the bond market, and potentially upset the U.S. economic reputation around the world, that sounds like a political problem in the making and a potential factor in why he's not doing it, at least for now.
Yeah, we'll see how the week ends. Ed, thank you very much.